This is Alex. He's smart, motivated, and works harder than a caffeine-fueled engineering student on deadline week. But he has a problem. No matter how many hours he logs, it feels like he is running on a hamster wheel. Lots of effort, zero distance. Why? Because his days look like this. He wakes up, immediately scrolls through his phone, because why not? He then starts working, but gets interrupted by text, dives into his email abyss, and even takes a short break to watch one YouTube video, which turns into 5 hours of random rabbit holes and a PhD in conspiracy theories. By the end of the day, he's exhausted, busy, and as accomplished, drumroll, nothing. Alex is drowning in shallow work, those mindless, soul-sucking tasks that sound productive but wouldn't impress a goldfish. And this isn't just an Alex problem, it's your problem, it's everyone's problem. The world is basically engineered to keep you distracted. Good news though, there's a way out. Bad news, it's not another app. One day, Alex trips over this thing called deep work, the superpower of focusing so hard on a task that you produce results 10 times faster than the average procrastinator. At first, it sounds impossible, like unicorn-level nonsense. But then he notices his hand behind his back is refreshing YouTube for more dopamine crumbs. With nothing to lose and no will to live, Alex decides to give it a shot anyway. He follows 4 principles. The first thing he did is setting up his environment like a monk in his silent backyard. He exiled his phone to another room and made a strict work ritual that tells his brain, when I sit at this desk, distractions are not fucking allowed. When I sit at this desk, distractions are not fucking allowed. When I sit at this desk, anyways, the second thing he did is stopping the dopamine crumb dependency. Instead of filling every free moment with social media, he trains his brain to handle stillness without crying for those micro hits of dopamine. No more default scrolling when he's waiting in line or sitting in silence. Alex also stopped wasting his time. He slashed unnecessary meetings, the kind that could have just been an email. He stopped checking emails 24/7, and after learning that no is a full sentence, he started saying no to tasks that don't serve his bigger goal. And finally, he stopped being a crybaby that avoids discomfort. He started scheduling his day and stopped saying, I'll do it tomorrow. Time blocks are law. Work stops when the clock says, no more work until I get tired. Instead, he works until the session is officially over. At first, this was brutal. His brain craved distractions and begged for that notification dopamine hit. But after a few weeks, something insane happens. He's finishing tasks in hours that used to take days. His work's so good, people think he's cheating. But the best part is that he's actually working less than before. Deep work means 4 hours of laser focus beats 12 hours of pretending to multitask while secretly Googling how to get my ex back. Alex is now a god of productivity. And he is a perfect example of what most people need to go through. But if you're looking for something more hardcore, and I mean probably the craziest transformation story you've ever heard about, you'll probably like David more. This is David. His childhood wasn't just rough, it was a horror movie with no jump scares, just relentless dread. He grew up in an abusive household, bullied at school, and let's just say his piggy bank was a sock with a hole in it. By his early 20s, he was overweight, working a dead-end job, and trapped in a cycle of failure. No one expected anything from him. And honestly, he didn't expect much from himself either. Until one day, everything changed. One night, David's flipping channels, and he somehow lands on a Navy SEALs documentary, some of the toughest warriors on the planet, and something clicked for him. He decided, I'm going to become one of them. There was just one problem. He weighed 300 pounds and had only 3 months to lose over 100 pounds just to qualify for training. His friends laughed, his scale groaned. The math said, LOL, no. Everyone's like, David, you can't even jog to the fridge without a breather? You want to become a Navy SEALs? Really? But David had already spent his entire life in pain. What was a little more? So he made a choice, suffer on his terms. Instead of running from pain, he ran toward it. He woke up every day before sunrise to run miles even when his body screamed for rest. He did thousands of push-ups and sit-ups every day. And he ate nothing but plain chicken and vegetables. And in just 3 months, he lost the weight, passed the test, and entered Hell Week, the most brutal military training in the world. If you don't know what Hell Week is, imagine this. 5 days with almost no sleep, non-stop physical torture, running in freezing water, carrying logs for miles, brutal obstacle courses, and instructors trying to break you mentally. Most men quit. Even David failed twice, breaking bones, suffering injuries, and limping away like a rejected action figure. But he came back a 3rd time and finally passed. And that's when he realized something that changed his life forever. He discovered his mind's biggest lie. The 40% rule. Turns out when you think you're done, legs shaking, lungs gasping for air, and brain begging for a rest, you're only at 40% of what you can actually do. The other 60% is locked behind your mind's whiny little excuses. David had been quitting since he had diapers on, buying every excuse his brain sold him. But once he told it to shut up, the game was over. He became unstoppable. He calls this callousing your mind, toughening up that fragile noodle between your ears until it stops crying at the first sign of trouble. Most people won't get it. Most people think discipline is skipping dessert once a month. David's laughing at us all. So now David has one question for you. Gonna keep coasting in your cozy little comfort zone, quitting when your coffee gets cold, or are you gonna shove past that pathetic 40% your brain's been peddling? Because the truth is, life is always going to be painful. You can either suffer for nothing or suffer for something. Now, David might be a god of discipline, but he is only one step behind from the most genius man alive, James. But before we get into that, I know that you're probably desperate for ways to get more done without accidentally starting a podcast about procrastination instead. That's why I nearly did a backflip when Skillshare, the largest online learning community for creatives, decided to sponsor me today. No fluff, no nonsense, just top tier classes on everything from productivity and time management to design, illustration, filming, and much more. I'm obsessed with how you can use Skillshare to learn at whatever speed your caffeine level allows. This handsome beard guy's productivity masterclass flipped my life upside down when I watched it last year. I went from professional napper to guy who owns a to-do list in like an hour, so definitely check that out. And if you're like me, trying to squeeze every second out of the day or hunting for skills to crush it in your job, your hobbies, or just to impress your dog, then stop scrolling YouTube for conspiracy theories and click the link in the description for a whole free month of Skillshare. Seriously, what are you waiting for? Oh right, David's still out there battling the most genius man alive, James. James has a simple rule in life. You don't rise to the level of your goals. Sorry, Dreamboard enthusiasts. You plummet straight to the level of your habits, like a poorly trained puppy that keeps peeing on the rug. Think about it. You say you want to get in shape, but do you actually work out? You say you want to be productive, but don't you still scroll for hours? You say you want to lose weight, but do you actually stick to your diet? The issue isn't motivation. Motivational YouTube videos don't magically fix you. It's your habits. They're the puppet masters, and you're the marionette, flailing through life on strings of bad decisions. But what if I told you that James discovered a way to trick your brain into making success as automatic as forgetting where you parked? Well, buckle up, because James's advice is about to get your life together. Imagine two wannabe ex-smokers at a party. Someone waves a cigarette under their noses like a smug little temptress. First guy goes, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit," sounding like he's begging his own willpower for mercy. Second guy, "Nah, I'm not a smoker," he says, like he's never even met nicotine. See the difference? The first one is still auditioning for Smoker the sequel. The other's already rewritten his character arc. So here comes the realization. Your habits aren't just things you do, they're who you think you are. If you believe you're a lazy person, you'll spend all day scrolling in bed again. If you believe you're unhealthy, nothing is stopping you from eating McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Goals are cute and all, but they're just shiny stickers you look at while planning your next snack break. They're not the fix. Identity is. And Scroll Zombie isn't a great identity pick, by the way. Most Scroll Zombies think success comes from big actions. Wrong. Success comes from tiny daily habits. If you improve by just 1% every day, you won't feel it at first. But over time, that's a 37x improvement in 1 year. But it works the other way around. If you eat junk food just once, it's not a big deal. If you skip the gym just once, no problem. If you procrastinate just once, nothing changes. And then once turns into twice, and suddenly, you've built a bad habit. Good news though, you're not doomed. You can reprogram the software in your brain. It's all about the habit loop. 4 steps that run your life whether you like it or not. First comes the cue, the thing that triggers your habit, like feeling bored. Then comes the craving, the feeling that makes you want to do it, like wanting entertainment. Third comes the response, which is the action you take, like opening YouTube shorts and scrolling for 2 hours. And finally, the reward, the feeling of satisfaction that reinforces the habit. In this case, it's the feeling of being entertained, plus 2 hours of your lifetime wasted probably. So, if you want to break bad habits, kill the cue. If boredom sparks your YouTube Shorts binges, hide the app or your phone, maybe throw it in a river, up to you. And if you want to build a good habit, make the cue obvious and the reward sweet. Want to read? Slap a book on your pillow. Want to eat healthy? Definitely remove the 55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 tacos, 55 pies, 55 cokes, and 100 tater tots you stuffed in your fucking fridge for easy access anytime you feel a slight urge for junk food. You see, James' message to you is that success isn't about doing one big thing once. It's about doing the right things over and over until one day you look in the mirror and realize you've become the person you always wanted to be. Anyways, if you want to learn how to learn stuff as fast as humanly possible, which you should, click this video here.